doing our live on Friday instead of Monday. I am just so happy to be here because I cannot believe it is November. I cannot believe this is our sixth annual um, New Year reading. So I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for being here and joining me, whether you are joining me live or you are joining me in the replay. If you have questions about anything that I share, feel free to pop them in the comments. And if you are doing it on a replay, do hashtag replay so I know to come back. So just to get started, welcome to the 2024 New Year reading for the collective. So, this reading is the energy, the overarching energy that we will all experience as a collective for next year. Now, if you want your very own reading, I've just opened, and there's a link. If you are on YouTube, it is below. If you're on Facebook, I think it's above. I think that's how it works, wherever the text box are in the descriptions. There is a link for you to book. I have five sessions left for the whole rest of the year, period. In this New Year session that is private for you, you will get a 14 card reading on Zoom live with me just for you as your map for next year. And first come, first serve. Like I said, if you are, as you join and do these readings, or you are a member of Celestial Soul Circle, or you are a private client for the previous year, you are get in VIP status, which means you get the pre-sale, which that's why there's only 5 spots left, because I opened up my pre-sale to my VIPs, like think right after the Halloween card pulls. So for the last month, they've been grabbing up spots, but I have 5 left and they are open to whoever wants them now. And this reading is normally $222 and it is on special because it is that time of year for $197. So you get 14 cards, 3 different decks, an hour with me, and you get the replay and audio and a cute little PDF that is your card layout, your private card layout. So, and you get all that wrapped up and you get on the VIP list for next year's reading. So, I'm excited to share with you this year's, what the card decks we're going to use. So, the first deck we're going to do, and again, we're going to use 3 different decks. So, let's see. I just want to make sure that I'm streaming on all the platforms. So I'm assuming I'm on YouTube. I see I have one person with me right now, but I'm not sure how this all is working. So if you want to say hello, feel free. Um, let's see. I don't know. I guess it's streaming somewhere. Anyway, so we'll just keep going. We're going to use the hero's journey. I like to call it the Shero's journey because I'm a girl. So it's Shero, not hero. So we're going to use this deck, and this deck will give us the overarching energy for the whole year. Like, where are we in the hero's journey? So Joseph Campbell created the hero's journey, and it's the journey that we all take, whether, and he based it on mythology, like just studying mythology stories and other stories. And so knowing that where you are in the journey is a really great place. So as a collective, this will share with us, where are we in our hero's journey, because it's a cycle. You can Google it. Okay, so that will do this deck. The next deck, we're going to do animal medicine. So where we are in the journey will be supported and where we can find comfort. So think of it as like, if we were going to do this in astrology, your hero's journey is like your sun sign. This is who I show up as every day. So that's the energy we're going to see. Think of your animal medicine as your moon sign. Moon sign is, how do we self-care? Best ways to self-care. So think of it this way. So if your hero's journey card is the energy we're all going to be dealing with, your animal medicine card is going to be how we can navigate it and feel good. So that's what that'll be. And then lastly, I love these angel cards. I've used them forever and ever and ever. They were like my first, actually, no, that's a lie. They were like my third tarot deck, but I love them, so I keep them. And so we're going to use angel cards, angel tarot, 12 of these, one for each month, to see what the energy is for that month. So those are the decks we're going to use in case you want them. I don't know if you can buy this specific angel card deck anymore. I don't know if it's still in print, but the other 2, I do know that they are, and you can get them on Amazon. That's where I got mine. Well, actually, the animal deck I got as a gift in attending a conference with Clever and Reed, but I digress. So anyways, So the first card we're going to pull, I'm going to do this, and we're going to shuffle, clear our deck, because I started doing the sessions last night. My first person that scheduled last night, I was so excited to start. I had to go dig all my decks out of the closet because I had them put up because I am going to paint this. So I had to go and unpack things um, and pull this out. So our first card that we're going to pull is our Hero's Journey. And I love that this one popped out. Ooh, the return. Oh, I love that. This is so apropos. It's the return. I'll explain that in a minute. We'll just set these cards aside. And then we're going to do us an animal. I love my animals. They're so sweet and they're so like cozy and all the things. So yes, let's see. I want to just double check something here. Let's see. Are we streaming? Hello, me. Just double checking. I know there's one person. If you're here, you say hello, and so that I can tell. Where are you? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? How are you hanging out with me this morning so that I can see? Because it looks like my Facebook one, for whatever reason, is not streaming, and I don't know why. So maybe I can do this. Let's see. Who knows? Let's see. Anyways, I'm going to just keep going and then I will just copy and paste this into Facebook for later. Keep going. So, animal card, animal medicine. So, this is going to be, oh, Aubrey. Hey, girl. I'm so glad you're joining me and you're on YouTube. Awesome. So, YouTube, people can see me on YouTube. So, that is fabulous. Yay. Okay, so we are going to pull an animal medicine card and see how that goes. We'll shuffle it a couple more times. Here. Yep. This we go. Ooh, owl upside down. You see clearly now, but it's upside down. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And now we're going to pull our 12 angel cards. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're local, today is November 10th of 2023, and I will be at Aroma Cheese tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. doing readings. The New Year readings, I'm not doing there just because of time, because they take about an hour to an hour and a half because we get chatty because I haven't seen people. Hey, Veronica, good morning. And so if you want one of these readings, we'll have to do it on Zoom. If you want just a general reading or an energy work or an energy kind of review and some clearing and stuff like that, clearing and charging of your energy, come on over to Aroma Cheese tomorrow. So 3 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. is when I will be there at the shop for my monthly hello and hugs in person. So let's see. Alrighty. But again, like I said, the New Year's reading is only through Zoom because it does take a little bit longer than the time that I usually reserve for the shop. So okay, let's see. I'm gonna put these puppies over here. Ooh, yes. I think we all need that come January. Good Lord. It has been a crazy couple of years, I think, for everyone. And it's really interesting. Oh, lots of manifests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I feel like, I don't know about y'all, but the last couple of years, like 2020, 2021, those years, man, y'all, everybody who came to me for one of these readings was like all full of major arcana cards. And when I read, I see those as like big life shifts and life changes. I'm going to move y'all back so I have more room on my desk. And of late, this year, more people are having a much more balanced and less tumultuous time, and that is being reflected here as well, so that we only have two major arcana cards here, because I think we have to remember that 2020, 2021, aside from the earthly 3D stuff we all went through, that also was a huge it was like a wormhole the whole time. Felt like an eclipse season for like 2 to 2.5 years. And we came out of it and we're like, what in the happened there? So I think it's really nice. Like we saw a shift to a lower gear in as far as speed is concerned in the past year. There have been moments during like eclipse seasons, I don't know about y'all, but for me anyways, where the wormhole speed up and then calm down, but they were not as intense. They felt intense, but if we're going to compare them to the last 2 years, a little less intense. And I think 2024, the 3D world. So here's before I even read any of this, the energy that I'm seeing to just give it to you guys is you're going to witness a lot of folks who are not on the spiritual path, um, still losing their shit, I guess, lack of a better term, creating division and encouraging that and witnessing stuff that isn't super awesome to witness. Okay. But so the way that we navigate that is to step back and be in an observer mode and say to ourselves, okay, this is neat. This is almost like a timeline split, like we saw in 2018, 2019, that led to that 2 years of stuff. But timeline split is more of those of us on the path who understand the dimensional shifts will be much more engaged in practicing fifth dimensional energies versus those who still are clinging to the 3D energy. So you'll see a lot of people maybe leaving the planet, and I mean like, transitioning to back to energy. You might see a lot of turmoil. We will see a lot of interesting stuff happen, but just stand in understanding that it's almost like you're watching a movie and it's like I'm not participating in that. So I don't know how else to it's a very weird to put it into 3D. And it was so funny because last night the person that I was doing this reading for, there were several like what I call telepathic messages where I'm like, I even said to her, I don't feel like I can say this out loud, but you're getting what I'm saying. And she went, oh, yes, I'm getting from here to here. So I feel like that's going to be more that kind of stuff, much more. And understand when I say things like leaning into your empathic ways, do not take that as like, I can use that as an excuse. So I'm an empath, so I can't be around people, or I'm an empath, so I'm being acted upon. Understand your power as an empath. You need to take responsibility and accountability for your empathic ways so that you can shield and clear your energy on the regular because that empathy is going to serve you. Don't use it as an excuse to not do things or to not move forward. Use it as a power, like a superpower, okay? And understand what it's for and understand how it can help you not hinder your forward motion. And that's what I kind of like the overarching big energy as far as like what 2024 and 2025 have for us is that kind of stuff. So when we come into 2026, I feel like there is going to be this definite like um you will stop witnessing this other stuff because you'll be so focused on where you are going and where and on those that you are traveling with, in the spiritual sense. So that's that. So let's get to the reading. So the first card I want to pull and let you in on is our Shiro's journey. So again, oh, I threw the boxes on the floor. This is the Shiro's journey and the return. Own your mastery. So this is so apropos considering the last couple of years. You have done a crap ton of work. I know I have. I know you have. I know everybody that I've worked with has. Anybody who's seeing this has. And so the return in the hero's journey is when the hero comes home or the Shiro comes home. So, we start off and we go on the journey and we meet our friends. Like I like to think of it, this all came into mainstream as George Lucas's basis for Star Wars. So if you want to get a kind of like a Shiro's journey in motion, well, it's a hero's journey, but it's a Shiro's journey. Everybody's on their journey in that film. And what it is you have all these dreams, then somebody comes along as a mentor and is like, hey, let's go do this. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, I got stuff to do. Like, I got like, what was it? Luke was like, I'm a water farmer in the desert. I got to go do this. And my uncle's going to kill me if I go off to like, light speeder school or whatever, or TIE fighter, whatever it was, X-Wing fighter school. And then something happens And he's like, well, I guess I gotta go. He crosses the Rubicon, goes on the journey, meets C3PO and R2D2, which are his two comic relief buddies, which are usually your besties that kind of travel with you. And you have a mentor, and you go through these challenges. And like in Empire Strikes Back, you go in the cave, you kind of do your shadow work, and then as you come out of the cave, you are a different person, a different version of you than when you started. And then you are able to navigate the big challenge, and you come home the conquering Shiro. So that's what the return is. The return is you coming home. Now, this doesn't mean that our journey is over. We come home, we have a big celebration, and then we kind of say, what's next? What is my next thing? But right now, next year is all about really incorporating that wisdom that you have learned over the last 2 years. So own your mastery is key here. Now, the medicine to doing this, I think this is really interesting because when we see an upside down animal card or an oracle card, when I'm doing readings, this means that it's either I didn't know that, forgot that I knew that, or I know that and I don't want to because I'm being a whiny baby. I think this is the second one, which is I forgot that I knew that. Or for some of you, it might be I didn't know that. So, owl spirit, and I love owls. I actually held an owl when I was in Scotland. I have to do a photo dump for that on Facebook because I just haven't had the time. But had met my new owl friend called Guinevere. She was like this big and she sat on my arm outside of Edinburgh Castle. And I always think of her when I pull this card now. So, owl spirit is you see clearly now. Now it's upside down. So, understand that sometimes our lack of clarity is our overthinking. Am I really doing this right? Is this really my time? When is the other shoe going to drop? It's time to let go of that thinking. That thinking gets in the way of you manifesting your dreams. So when we are coming into our return, we're coming home from the journey, hail the conquering Shiro, and we are then saying something like, well, I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe I'm not being as clear. Maybe this isn't when we're doing that, these conflict. So if this was like a Celtic cross, it would sit there like this. The only thing that's going to block this from happening in your celebration is you choosing to not see clearly. So be in awareness that the medicine here is to really own your clarity, to own it, to own your mastery and be okay with it. So that's our kind of overarching where it's like as individuals, look at all the things you've learned and all of the um, emotions or past traumas or past happenings that you have navigated and healed over the last couple of years and own that. Give yourself credit for that and allow that allow the fact that you're honoring that to create the clarity you need as you move ahead at next year. Okay. So those are like kind of the two big overarching energies over the whole year. So let's go through. Now it's really interesting because January is the release card, and this is a major arcana card. So I think January for all of us is going to be like oh, thank God. Aside from going, and I want to be really clear. Yes, the world is kind of a crazy place like right now, and it's not super fun to watch, whether it's domestically or internationally. It's just not. But what I'm saying when I say this, it's like it's time to let go. Okay. All of the stuff we're holding on to, we can have empathy and we can have love and we can wish things maybe were different. But the fact is, can we control any of it? Not, no, we can't. So, what this card is going to say is we're going to get to a point where we go, you know what, it's time for me to surrender. And surrender does not mean like in war, giving up or losing or whatever, when a lot of times that's what it kind of the popular consensus is. Surrender is about letting go of resistance. Surrender is saying, you know what? I can't control any of this. I can't control what's going on across the world. I can't control what's going on in the political landscape of my own country. I can't control what the traffic will be like when I go out to the grocery store later. But all I can control is how I feel about it. And how I feel about it is, you know what? I'm going to say, Archangel Michael, come protect me and put a bubble around my car as I drive and navigate traffic. And universe, source energy, I surrender all of this worry about this. That the reason I'm worrying is because it's out of my control and I don't feel good about it. But I'm going to surrender all that to you because you are the one that is in control of that. And so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to say affirmations to myself. And a friend reminded me of these yesterday. And these are Louise Hayes. These are not mine. I do. You guys know that I am the affirmation queen, and I can just like you tell me what's going on, and I'll rattle you an affirmation off. But these, I'm always honest when I say, this is not mine. This is Louise Hayes. Everything is always working out for me. And she used to say, and I love this, she would keep a little note in her wallet, so when she was having a bad day or she was having like a week where she didn't have any money, she would pull this out and read it and remind herself. That's why I love Louise Hay. She's so great. Everything is always working out for me, and everyone involved. That's another thing that I loved. And everyone involved, only good can come from the situation, and I am safe. And another friend that I was watching that reminded me of this said yesterday in her video, reminding yourself that you're safe throughout next year is a big deal. So whenever you kind of feel it, say, I just, how they say, let God, let go and let God, or let go and let Goddess, let go and let source, whatever your jam is. Whenever you're feeling that, just, I'm going to surrender this up to you. I'm going to let go of this fear because it's not serving me. So when we talk about things what doesn't serve us, fear doesn't serve. It doesn't serve us. It keeps us blocked. It keeps us, from moving forward. So that's why I'm saying January is going to be a really interesting month because it's all about releasing and letting go. And we're all going to feel it. And it says an end to a phase or a situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. So it's all about that letting go. And then February, Two of Fire. And I love this. So I love that the angel cards, they're not just, they kind of blend two different things. And that's why I like them. If I could just grab them, that'd be great. And the first thing, obviously, is the angels and the archangels, and I love them. And in fact, if you're watching, Alicia, I still know that I have to do some research for you and pull my books out so I can send you some photos about Archangel Raphael. I know that, and I'm going to do that. But I love that there's all the archangels are represented in this deck, but then also instead of like pentacles and wands and swords, it's elements. It's elements, and I love that. And so the suit of wands is fire, and fire in manifestation process, the way I see it when I teach it, the element of fire is that space between the intention and receiving. So this is when, like, say if we're going to bake a cake and that's our intention is to bake a cake, we mix all the ingredients together, we pour it into a little pan, and into the oven it goes. You don't keep opening the oven and checking on it because that'll screw up the temperature and it won't cook right and all that kind of stuff. So fire is when we kind of have to leave the intention alone, but we do have to be mindful of what our energy is in that time because it can contribute to how fast, how slow that what our energy is equivalent to opening the oven and like the temperature going up and down and that kind of thing. And so the Two of Fire, it's interesting. You've come into your own new partnerships or contracts, continue to move forward. So the Two of Fire to me is like when you see partnerships, and those partnership energies are what are going to move you forward. I love that it's in February because February is all about relationships. It's all about love and high vibrational relationships. So when we're in that space, we're not necessarily talking about romantic relationship. It might be partnerships. It might be romantic relationship. It might be a family relationship. It might be new friends. But either way, in February, it's going the energy to create the things that we want will be around partnerships. So that's February. And let me just check in. Oh, hey. Oh my gosh. Hey there, Matthew. How are you, boo? He said, jumped on a little late. I am so glad you're here, Matthew. And you can watch the replay because I talk about some stuff in the beginning that you might want to check out because I talked about like the channeled energy that I got for the year. So anyway, but welcome, Matthew. So glad to see you. You always are so fun. I love you so much. March. Five of Earth, which is interesting because March is coming up on tax season, right? And it says it's all about fear of money is Five of Earth. Five is always the odd numbers are always kind of like, so it might be, we all get a little bit worried about money. And it's funny because, we might be witnessing what's going on in the world. So this may be on a personal level, but since this is a reading for the collective, it may be more indicative of the collective perception about money, which might be world markets, it might be interest rates, it might be housing prices, it could be it could be all kinds of inflation, whatever. But when it's in the sign of Earth, Earth is where things start to manifest. So here's the thing: since we have we're November, December, January, February, March, we're 5 months out from this. Right now, this is what's happening. This is where the energy is going. So you want to help this? The best way to do it is not to go out and scream and yell. It's not to go pull your money out of the bank or shove it in the mattress. It is about staying in your present moment and knowing and repeating to yourself, I have more than enough. I have I always have more than enough um, for my necessities, my luxuries, and in savings. That's the energy you want to put forth. And you don't want to focus on anything contrary to that. And then this will be a lot easier to navigate. So, starting now, that's our affirmation. That is the energy we will dwell in. It will be, I am so thrilled whenever that I am so thrilled that the universe has my back. I am so thrilled the universe always provides me. And it's not I stand in the flow of abundance. It is I always participate in the flow of abundance. That is where what we need to we need to focus our energy on now, so that this is a lot easier to navigate when it comes. So that's March. Um, and also part of this is going to be community building, because there might be some money issues. Isn't it always nicer when we come together as a community to support, which is not necessarily energy we've witnessed in the past. And this might be an opportunity for us to come together in community with those around us so that we can support each other. So back in the day, and any of you who know me or have been around a while, I'm Italian, part of me is of Italian ancestry. And the Sunday gravy. The Sunday gravy is not just a delectable and delicious food item. Darren loves when I cook it because he just like wants to live in the smell because it smells so good. But the concept of it is, you make your Sunday gravy, and in the Italian household, that's tomato sauce, right? But it's a different kind of tomato sauce. It's not just your regular old marinara. It is when you put, say, meatballs and sausage and maybe some pork loin or leftover the small cut, of beef roast or whatever. And where this came from is back in Sicily, when the village, they weren't the richest in Sicily. I mean, most of the stuff that you guys love that's Italian food is peasant food. All of the tomato based stuff and the spaghetti and all that business and carbonara and whatnot. Um, and as such, and if you look at Italian families, you watch all the movies, they all live together. Like that's their thing, because everybody kind of would come together, and it was a lot. You would feel rich because you're pooling your resources, and that Sunday gravy was a family thing. So what would happen is everyone would bring, there maybe was like a little bit of roast left over in one family, or a little, a couple of meatballs left over, and everyone would bring their not enough that would feed their family, but it was something, and put it in the pot, and it would roast all day long, and you'd get this sauce that was amazing with every kind of meat. It would be beef and pork and maybe some chicken or whatever. And you would put it over pasta, and everybody would get a protein, everyone would get a carb, everyone would get a vegetable, and everybody would have this glorious meal because they pooled their resources. So I want to say March is an invitation to not lean into that, oh my God, I'm all on my own. I have to do it all myself. My money is like not where I want it to be, and I'm all alone and I'm screwed. That is the easy lean in. The one that is higher vibrational, might be a little more challenging because it goes against conventional wisdom, is I'm going to say lean into creating that Sunday gravy community experience for you in March, because that's where you will find your joy. That is where you will find the energy to shift, because since it's an earth, it's going to be really like an experience versus a thought or an emotion or whatever. So changing your energy while you're witnessing something is going to be challenging, but if you can focus on that Sunday gravy analogy and step into that, even if you're the leadership of that, that's where you will find that vibrational shift. And I know that you're going to do it, because the very next month we got a bunch of earth cards all together. So if y'all can come together in that wisdom of asking for help and being part of a community, as that's my support agent, then come April, which is Ace of Earth, which I love, um, the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, and important documents or contracts. So here, I think as a collective in April, we will see how resilience that we have learned in Gen X, those of you who are fellow Gen Xers, we are the kings and queens of resilience. How we have come together in March to create, to shift our energy so that in April there will be abundance. So you might feel like, oh crap, at the end of first quarter, but the beginning of second quarter, by the end of that month, it'll be like, okay, we're doing a little bit better. We're bouncing back. And that's good because we came together. Now, in May, we have Eight of Earth, and I love this. I think Eight of Earth is when we'll all have messages where we learn some stuff because Eight of Earth is about learning new things. Excuse me, it's about learning new things, educating yourself. So there may be some stuff, and again, this is Earth, so it's experiential. It's what's happening in the 3D. So we may all be learning about more. Like what I'm getting is more science stuff. We may be learning some things about people that we thought were one way, but now we're seeing the truth there. And that's not one of those like what do they call it? Selective truths or like the truths that change forever. This is like, no, the moon is in the sky, the earth is round, that's the way it is, kind of truths. Um, and so that is going to happen in May. And we will all learn something. And I think it will help us because this also talks about learning stuff to move forward. So it might be learning stuff in a way that shifts how we do work in this country and it shifts how we show up in our, whether it be a corporate office, whether it be your own independent workspace because you're solopreneur. But this also has to do with that. So that'll be interesting. And again, this is May. And then we're back, and that's kind of like the big span of collective experience. Then we're back into Ace of Fire, which it's so funny. Whenever I see this one, but again, fire is again that time where you need to manage your energy so that you can energy flows where focus goes. And that's the time we don't want to open the oven, so to speak, when the cake is baking, so that when we are in the process of manifesting, we don't kind of throw it off course. Now, I think it's so funny because this one is all about like a new adventure, a new career advancement, um, and changing your life now, new and exciting new opportunity. Now, the funny thing is, this guy, every time I see him, even though the card itself is about new, wonderful energy and shifts, which is interesting because this is June, so it's mid-year. So everything that's happened and all the truth that comes out, we're probably going to be like, okay, we need to go in a new direction. But I always see this guy, and he reminds me of Gaston and Beauty and the Beast, who was kind of like a smug jackwagon. Um, because look at him. He's just like this smug dude holding on to his wand, like, I got this. I'm all about it. And I feel like there's like this kind of weird contradiction here where we're gonna see a lot of stuff, but there's still gonna be some remnants of that old jack wagonry, jackassery, is that allowed? Um, going on in the background. So what I will encourage here is don't let that get you off your course. Don't let that kind of crap um, knock you off your high vibrational meditation so that you know your energy flows where focus goes, and that's kind of like what needs to happen here. So you might witness stuff, but it's, let it go, and that'll probably be what happens is we let it go pretty quick. Now, Page of Water is our July. So July, we have new people coming in. So I feel like in, relationships begin a new phase, heightened psychic ability. So this may be a raise in consciousness, number one, of the collective. Something may happen where it raises our consciousness, it raises our collective energy. I mean, I think you guys all, especially if you're watching me, obviously, you're one of those people that have probably heard about like DNA upgrades and the Schulman resonance and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like this in July, that's really where we're going to go, is we're going to have this upgrade in our spiritual energy, in our DNA, and all that kind of stuff. So in July, you may want to give yourself, and again, we're in emotion and love, which is water. We want to make sure we give ourselves some more self-care, because when our bodies and the meat soak is getting an upgrade, that means that it's time for us to step back and allow our bodies the time to digest those upgrades. You might find yourself tired, you might find yourself crying, laughing, screaming because you need to release old things. It's a great time to go get some Reiki done to clear some energy or to get some reflexology done or traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture that releases and recalibrates your energy. This month in July would be just make sure you're doing some serious self care here. Um, and we may see as a collective energy some new folks come onto the scene in our global experience that are kind of like, huh, that's an interesting thing. Maybe I need to look out for them and watch them and see what's going on there because as they're coming in, mostly because they're going to, like, and it might be a new teacher for you. It might be a teacher you already have been with, but they're offering new stuff or their message is now resonating with you. I've had happen where a teacher has the same message all along, but I'm then aligned with that message. So that might be happening. So just kind of it's all about that kind of spiritual upgrade in July. And again, when that happens, it's time to step back and do some self-care. Do not make July like I'm going to go out and pick all the strawberries in the fields, pick all the vegetables, do all the things, clean my house, go look for a new job, take on a bunch of extra. No, it's keep your workload status quo and up your self care game in July. And then in August, this is the other big major arcana card. And I love this. It's the Empress. And notice the number three, manifestation is three. Gabriel. Gabriel is, the voice of God and also over parenting. And I think this is more about learning to reparent ourselves as a collective because I've been talking to some folks, and one of the things we've talked about, the reason there's so much lack of kindness lately is because folks have not learned to regulate their own emotions because it's been permissible to just not, to be, like not everyone had a Beaver Cleaver raising or a Brady Bunch raising, right? And so in those, and it's not so much like let's blame our parents. It's more we just never learned emotional regulation because of the stuff we went through. But as adults, it's our responsibility to take on that emotional regulation skill set. And so, what I'm going to encourage you to do is if that's you, if you find yourself having outbursts or you're just upset all the time, maybe it's time to find a coach, a therapist, or somebody else who specializes in processing that stuff because that in itself will help you learn to reparent yourself from a perspective of really being loving and being in control, and that inner child will be nurtured so that those emotional outbursts and regulation can be really much more calm and gentle and graceful for yourself. So just a side note, and that's where this comes in. So in August, this will become front and center for everyone. So if that's you, that would be something to kind of seek out as some support there so that you can navigate the healing that needs to happen. But in general, our Empress is also about abundance. So if you're like, oh my gosh, therapy costs money, don't worry about it. She's got you covered. She's got you covered. And it says, give birth to your dreams. So when we can heal those pieces of ourselves, those pieces that stand in the way of us doing the things and receiving the things that we want, because our inner child doesn't know how, that when we heal that kind of stuff, that's when things come through for us and we turn into really great receivers, really great givers, receivers, and that flow of abundance is something we participate in because now we give ourselves permission to. So that is August. And I think that's something that's going to be really important as a collective because to me, when we do that kind of stuff, if more people step into that, we will see kindness come back into our lifestyle in the world. And I think that's hugely necessary. Um, and then in September, oh, I love Page of Air. Now, air is all about thought. So thoughts become things. So think of it this way. When I'm talking about air cards, it doesn't necessarily mean like it's like an earth card where we're experiencing it in the reality of the 3D. This is more what I'm thinking about. And thoughts become things. So we need to be mindful what the energy is during the month if it's a thought card or an air card. So this one is Page of Air, and it says challenging information is coming. So, you know, it might be delays in your plans. It might be some truth delivered without any tact, which sometimes, it could be like, well, this is what's going on. And there's not a lot of bedside manner. So, as a collective thing, when we see this challenging information coming through, this might be something we experience as a collective. And as such, um, everybody's going to have a different take on it. The way that I'm going to encourage you is to take the information and step into observer mode. Really try hard. Since this is air, a lot of times the emotional regulation thing happens where we, instead of being logical and resilient and resourceful about things, we have a tendency to let our emotions run away from us, or with us. But if we can stay in the energy of air, which is supported here, it's much more like I can step back, be in observer mode, and say, well, that's interesting. Thank you for that information. Now, how do I want to move forward? Because the way that I move forward is the energy I put into the collective. Now, if I want to put fear into the collective, I can be all emotional and throw my hands up and be like, oh my God, this is horrible. If I want to throw love into the collective, which I think is a much more favorable thing for us to do, it's I'm going to be in observer mode and say, you know what? I'm going to sit in my meditation chair and I am going to I'm going to draw down some love energy from source and then direct that love energy to the entire world. That's super powerful. And people don't think it is because they think doing is more powerful. But let me tell you something, working in energy is 100 times more powerful than getting up and going and protesting or doing anything like that. So stand in your energy. Think about it from the perspective of, that's interesting. It's a thought. I want to make sure that I am in control of my thoughts rather than the other way around. So that is September, being logical, honest, and not super impulsive and curious about what's going on, not jumping to conclusions. Okay. So then we are in third quarter and we are in just another just slew of air cards. Kind of like it's weird. Like the first half is mostly earth, which is experiential. Second half of next year is all ponderance, thinking. So again, reminder, thoughts become things. We need to kind of chill. So, but in October, we have Ace of Air. And I love this one because it's like I am in control of my thoughts. I am the one. And one of the two of the four agreements I attribute to the energy of thought. And one of them is releasing taking things personally, and the other one is releasing making assumptions. And I feel like those are represented here in the Ace of Thought in October of 2024. So if we can kind of stand in that, and that helps us be in observer mode as well. So in that moment, when you are allowing yourself to be in control of your thoughts and nobody else, and you're not taking things personally, and you're not making assumptions, you can allow the creativity within yourself to blossom. And that's when brilliant ideas will come. We may see some leaps and bounds in technology that month. We may see some new interesting inventions, new vehicles, maybe new ways of doing things. I always am on the lookout for good kitchen gadgets. So maybe that's something. Um, but it might be that there's this new beginning. And then also at the same time, uncovering of more truths, but truths up here. Like it's almost like we'll get the truth in an emotional way, and then we'll digest it in October. So you might see, let's see, where was it? Mm, Up here. It was more up here. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Back to school time. Yeah. Da, 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 da. We might see the truth come out and feel it and like just get it out there in the beginning of the year, and then in this October timeframe, digest it and process it and really kind of understand it. And then November, nine of air. Now nines are always like, oh God, it's all the tension, it's the buildup. And this is also an election year. So, I'm not saying um who's gonna win because that's not my jam. What I am saying is the energy of it is everybody's gonna be like this in November, and it's not gonna be comfortable unless you choose to not let it get to you. Again, it's a choice. So this is expecting, it even says expecting the worst. So stop, no matter what side you're on, don't expect the worst. Don't always expect, I'm gonna come back to this, my little post-it note. Everything is always working out for me, only good can come of the situation, and I am safe. And that goes for whether your person wins or or the other person wins. Okay? But the fact is that 9 of air is thoughts creating tension, not actual tension. It's not actual because it's not an earth, it's an air, which is thought. All of this in November of next year is going to be like, because we're creating the worry, we're creating the stress up here, not out here. But the fact is that because of all of that, and I know this is going to be crazy in people saying, well, oh, thoughts become things, people. I did not, and you saw me shuffle this. So understand that your November thought process will yield your December activities. Okay. So worry, I think what happens here is if we continue to feel that stressful and we digest it and we keep it instead of just letting it go and being like, I did my thing, I went and voted, I did whatever I can do, and that's it. That's it. And I'm going to live my life. And that's it. That's the best we got. And it's so, and it even talks about self-fulfilling prophecies, which means if I think it, it becomes a thing. So really be mindful of what you're thinking in November of next year because you don't want it to become a thing. Now, the cool thing is, I feel like more people are going to be in control of their thoughts. But it's really interesting because Nine of Earth, to me, this card showing up says you get whatever this is. So now, if you choose to fall in line with the sky is falling idea of the thoughts process in November, then you get sky is falling stuff in December. If you decide to stay high vibrational in and whenever a thought comes in to your head, you stop and you take a moment to clear your energy and your thoughts and you say to yourself, I surrender all of this to the universe and I am now only going to have peace, clarity, and love. And I stand in the process, in the flow of abundance, and come back to my affirmation. Everything is always working out for me. Only good can come from the situation, and I am safe. If that's what happens here, this will be joyful. It's a reflection. That's why these last two cards are a reflection of each other next year. So, and the reason I'm saying that you're probably going to choose that higher vibrational stuff, thank the Lord, is because the Nine of Earth is more about enjoying life's little things. Like whatever stress bubble this is, hopefully we will collectively pop it and we will collectively feel better because it's spending quiet time alone, successful self employment. So, for those of you who want to be woopreneurs, and again, woopreneur isn't just someone like me. A woopreneur could be somebody who's an accountant but keeps crystals on their desk because it's their spiritual path. You're basically a light leader, whether you are on your own in your solopreneurship or you are in a corporate. That's to me what a woopreneur is, traditional and non traditional. But either way, if you are more the traditional woopreneur, where you are someone who is of a spiritual uh, belief system that is wanting to work for themselves, December of next year, that might be your time. That might be your time to come into your own. Because in November, you let go of all the crap, and in December, you're like, I'm ready to go. And that's kind of how I did it. I literally 7 years ago, oh my gosh, 7 years ago in January, so 2018, and y'all believe it's been a long time. Like I started the journey in my business in 2016, and then January of 2018, I was like, bye bye corporate, and now I'm doing this the full time. But yeah, December will be a reflection of the thoughts happening in November. So just remember to get that favorable December thing, we gotta be in that high vibrational November thought process. And that's the next year's. And I'm really, really proud of myself because we are about just under an hour. So yay me for being good to time because normally I'm like very long winded. So if anyone has questions, I think I can see everybody on YouTube. For whatever reason, Facebook isn't working. So I will share this on Facebook as a replay. But yeah, so next year, it doesn't seem like it's going to be as intense as the last couple of years till the end of the year, but I think we know why. And if we can stay in our 5D lesson schoolhouse, which I think is what's going to be more prevalent next year, for those of us who are doing that versus watching the news every day, participating in the 3D in a way that's, allowing the matrix to control what we do and what we think, if we can step away from that, next year is going to be a lot better. And it might amp up in the fourth quarter of next year, where it might be a little more challenging to do that. But I feel like we will prevail. Our love will prevail, and everything will be cool. regardless of what's going on out here, regardless of who wins what, because I'm not really, you know, whatever. And because it's really more about how we choose. Because if we're the ones that create our own experience, this next year is going to be just a schoolhouse for that. And I love that. So, anyways, that's our, I can't believe it. It's our, the end and conclusion of the sixth annual 2024 New Year reading for the collective, which I love. And just as a reminder, I plugged in the link in the description. If you want to have this reading for yourself, I have 5 spots left as of right this minute. So November 10th at noonish Central Time, I have 5 spots left. And you can go ahead and book yourself your own personal reading. We would do this the same exact 3 decks, same exact spread for you. So you have a map for next year. And instead of it being 222, which is normally my hour session for folks, it's 197. And that's my special for this year. So, and you would get put on the VIP list. The reason I have 5 spots left before I even did this is because my VIPs get pre-sale, and the pre-sale is from Halloween to November 10th. So next year, if that's you, you get to get pre-book your stuff and get the best spots. But now I have 5 spots left. That's it. Once they're gone, the this kind of reading gets put into the vault until next year. And I'm so grateful to all y'all. You have no idea. Getting to do what I do and you guys allowing me to support you in this way just makes me so happy, and I'm so grateful. And I send you so much love. I hope this was helpful. You can always come back and uh, pop on the replay throughout the year, and you can also watch it on Facebook. So again, if you have comments and you want to share them, hashtag replay here at the end. And that's it. And I hope to see you on my calendar. I would love to do a personal reading for you. And that's it. I'm gonna let y'all go. Thanks for joining me and spending your lunch hour with me today. I love y'all so much, and I will see you next time. Um, bye. Happy holidays. I know people are like weird about that, but it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, all the things. And I want to respect everybody's what they celebrate. So have a great holiday. I love y'all so much. Bye.